Hello and welcome to this VFX tutorial for Unity. I'm not gonna cover all the basics of the engine, but it's going to be very beginner friendly. So I'm already in Unity. Unity is already opened. Version I'm using is 2019.2.17. That doesn't matter. It should be the features are pretty much the same for no matter which of the newest versions you're using, as long as you don't go too far back. Anything 2018 should still be good as well. So not gonna waste any more time. Let's just get started. So we've got this scene over here. Uh, what we'll be doing is a firework. So let's just start by creating a simple set to preview the firework inside. So I'm gonna go ahead and create a plane that will be our floor, and I'm going to position it at 0 at the origin of the world. And also let me check its material. It has a default material, so I'm gonna create a solid material and I'm gonna make it darker because it's always better to preview fireworks over a dark background, the same way that we would see fireworks during the night and not during daytime. So let's just go ahead and create a new folder. I'll call this one materials. Gonna create a bunch of them. Another one called textures. It's always good to be organized. And another one called I'm not gonna use any meshes. We already have a scenes. Do I need another one? You know what? Let's just delete it. Oh, well actually, I'll create one called VFX, and I will move material and textures inside of it. And now that I think about it, there will be a subfolder called particles. No, particle systems. Nah, just particles. Yeah, prefer that. Alright. Now, yeah, let's go in our material folder. Let's create a new one. So create material. I right click, by the way, whenever I go to that menu, but you should already know how to do that. So I'm gonna call this mat underscore dark 01. I like to put a number on everything. So I'm just gonna assign it immediately. Simply drag and drop the material on the plane, then go here, and I'm gonna set this to black. Then I'm actually going to scale this to maybe 5, 5, 5. No, that's a bit big. Maybe just 3, 2. Let's go for 2. Alright. Now I'm gonna press Ctrl D while I have the plane selected to create a duplicate. So now you can see there's a new one over there, and I can press E to go in the rotate tool, and I will put this to -90, and I'm gonna move it back over here to -10. Alright, I'm gonna move it up as well by 10. And I'll make another duplicate. Control D again. Just gonna rotate this -90 over here, and I'm gonna move it over there. So it's gonna be 0, 10, and -10. Oops. Alright, so this is our setup. Now the very first thing to do, outside of, while nothing is selected, I'm just clicking somewhere else, or over here there's some empty space, I can just right click, and then I can go and create effect particle system, and immediately I'm going to rename it to PS for particle system. underscore firework 01. And by default, Unity always gives uh, a rotation to particle systems to get them aligned up for some reason, I guess. But I like to reset this all the time. Don't worry if the particles are going in the wrong direction right now. We're not actually going to use this particle emitter. We're just gonna keep this one as a parent. So the settings for all the particles, they are all on the right side over here. And as you can see, there's a bunch of stuff. Duration, this is for how long it's shooting particles. So right now it's looping, so it doesn't really matter. But if I say that I don't want it to loop, and then I set it to 1 second, then I have this little menu over here, and I can click restart to restart the particle system. So only for 1 second it was spawning, and you can see the timing over here, playback time. As soon as it reaches 1, it stops. And I really like this little tool over here, because you can also slow down your particle system for previewing purposes. So right now it's playing at 1/4 of the speed. It gets really useful when you're trying to achieve some very accurate movement. If you're ever working in a game where, I don't know, like there can be some slowing down effect, and you expect people to see your particle system at slower speed, it's good to know what's actually going on. So I'm just gonna put it back to 1. And yeah, as I said, we're gonna disable everything. So let's just disable it, and I'm gonna continue explaining the other settings, but in the other emitter. So while you have the particle system over here, you can right click it and create a new particle system, and now it's become a child of that one. So now we have these are all the standard settings, shooting particles over this a time of 5 seconds and looping. So let's just go over the settings. Start delay. Uh, this is a delay before the particle system starts emitting. So if I set it to 1 and I click restart, it takes 1 second for them to start coming out. I'm gonna set it back to 0. Start lifetime is the lifetime of each of the particles. So they all last for 5 seconds. I could bring it back down to 1, so now they die faster. And also for pretty much all settings, every time you see that downwards arrow at the end of an input box, you can click it and you can change it to a curve or random between 2 constants or 2 curves. So if I set it to like random between 2 constants, right now my particles, they last a random number that is found between 5 and 1. And I can set this to something smaller. I could even set it to 0. Or yeah, it gets up to that 0.0001. But yeah, some of them die pretty much as soon as they spawn, while others, they go further away because they last longer. So anyway, that was just my explanation of what you can do with these numbers. There's a start speed, same thing again. You can put it between random, I could say like 10 and 2. So now we have this thing over here. I'm actually gonna move the particle system higher a little bit, like this, yep, so that we can see better. So let's just go back here. Start size, same thing. Gonna put it between 0.1 and 1. Now we get this thing. Something that's pretty annoying is the orange outline that you have around all of the particles. There's a way to remove this. All you have to do is go to this little gizmo over here, click the downward pointing arrow, and then click to disable selection outline. So now you're just seeing the particles themselves. And if you want to get rid of the icons too, like they don't serve much purpose for us, you can just completely disable gizmos. And now you just see whatever is actually active, whatever you would see in the game view actually, if you are actually playing. Alright, so let's keep going through some more of the options. Start rotation. Well, right now it's just a simple circle, so it won't change much. Um, then there is start color. Can set it to any color I want. And what you see always depends on which material you have assigned as well. Uh, but that would be getting into, I guess, some more complex tutorials later on when you'll be creating your own shaders and such. But there's a way to have like any channel, the actual vertex color, change something else about the particle besides its actual color. But let's just focus on the actual color for now. Over here is the most standard way that you would be using the setting. Is you can set it like between two colors, and then it's going to find uh, one value in between white and red. Sometimes it's a mix of both. If I want, I could put it to green. So you get this sort of orange, which is in between, orangey yellowish thing. And if you want to have either one color and the other without having anything in between, you can set it to random color instead. And now what you get is this gradient over here where you can put red, then you can put something like, I don't know, yellow, green. Is that a good yellow? There's never a good yellow, it's such an annoying color. And over here we could have, I don't know, some kind of light blue. And over there we'll go for some purple fuchsia. So now, as you can see, there's a gradient, so it does get some colors in between. But in mode over here, you can set it to fixed. And now you get this. Let's just change our keys a little bit. But now it's they're solid colors. It doesn't get any values in between them. As you can see, they're all fully saturated. Never a blend of both, of two colors. We don't want to keep this. It's ugly. Just gonna put it back to white for now. Simulation space. This is a very important one, especially when you're not just doing VFX in a standalone scene, but you're in an actual game, and the behavior of your particles is important. Kind of like, well, let me explain the difference between local and world. So in local space, whenever the emitter moves, all the particles move equally the same, as if it was a sort of static object that you're moving. But if you set it to world space, whenever the emitter moves, as you can see, it doesn't update the position of the particles that were already there. So this is very cool for like leaving a trail behind. I don't know, like if you're working on a racing game or something and your car is rolling in the dirt, you want some trails of dirt to stay behind, so you don't put them in local. You just leave them in world. This way, when your car, as it moves forward, the trails remain where they were spawned, uh, including their velocity that they have at whichever. So this is the difference between world and local. Simulation speed, it's kind of like this over here, but I think this is for previewing purposes, this little menu over there. But over here, I think it's for the actual gameplay, like when it's integrated and everything. I've never actually changed that number over there. I usually just fix the particle system, but I guess I could see some reasons why it would be useful sometimes. Um, there's a bunch of options that I don't want to go over because there are more advanced. So that's all I will be covering in the main tab over here. And yeah, this is what I'll call the main tab. And as you can see, it says particle system. And if I rename it to something else like blobs, then it's called blobs. But when I talk about the main tab, I will always be referring to that one over here where you have all the basic settings.